Hi Nick, lovely to meet up with you and do some work on your game. Just a quick review in regards to what we were discussing. From face on, the tendency was to slide very quickly with the lower body and hang on to the angles in the arms and the wrists. That was something that we pointed out, but we worked predominantly down the line in regards to controlling this, and the model we used was Dustin Johnson. And we talked about how from P4 top of the backswing to P7 impact, there are different ways of releasing the levers, using the body, etc. And generally speaking, if you took the two extremes, you would have a player who fires the levers a great deal and does very little with the body, and then another player who does more with the body and less with the levers. That would be more Dustin Johnson-like. So we're trying to, from face on, have more of a look of using the pivot to power the downswing rather than being led by the arms all the time. So when we looked at it down the line, we pointed out that it would tend to get, this is just additional detail to what we're working on, so it would tend to get a little bit long. The lead wrist, the left wrist, would get a little bit cut. There was a little bit too much lag. We talked about how the wrists match up. The hinging or the cocking of the wrist also leads to a cupping of the wrist. So we talked about maybe using Steve Stricker as a visual. And the key here is to take the club back a little bit shorter and feel like it's less wristy. So 3/4 swing, less wrists. We can see then, as we approach the top of the backswing, how things tidy up, and you've got the stills to support this. There's a much better relationship between the lead wrist and the lead arm. So if you will, a flatter wrist, which is going to be conducive to controlling the club face. The club head is less across the line because of the reduced wrist hinge. When you change direction, that lead wrist staying flatter for longer, which is making the face to path relationship easier to control. So your tendency on the left would be to go from sort of quite a strong position at P4 top to a relatively open position, or certainly relative to the path at least, by the time we get midway down, and then we've got to square that up pretty quick. On the left, the arms are releasing very quickly, the wrist angles are coming out too soon, and as a result the body's doing a little bit too much sliding and not enough turning. What also tends to happen is the hips tuck under towards the ball, which can push the club head out to the right, leading to heel strikes. And then as we come through impact, what we tend to do is straighten out the right arm, over rotate the right shoulder, and roll the club shut. And we talked about how through impact there was a little bit too much of a gap between the forearms at this point. The swing on the right, the feeling is to try and delay the arms as much as possible. Use the pivot to lower the club into the ball a little bit more. So you're trying to maintain the wrist angles for longer, maintain the angle in the right arm for longer. Keep the left arm and its relationship to the right shoulder, certainly from P4 to P5. So from the top of the backswing to left arm parallel. Feel like the arms are doing nothing. From P5.5 onwards, which is here, you can start to release the levers or the accumulators. At impact, we have a little bit more flex in the lead, in the trail ankle, the trail knee. Pelvis is a little bit more open. As you come through impact, hand action is a lot quieter. The right shoulder doesn't sort of fly out quite as much. And in general, the exit is a little bit more under control, and you can see there's much less roll of the club as you're coming through. So that was the gist of the work that we did during your lesson. Your keys should be, just to summarise, from the top of the backswing. Feel like you're going to turn into the lead arm. Keep the angles in the arms and the wrists for the initial part of the downswing. And then as you're coming through impact, try and feel like there is a little roll as possible of the club face. Good luck with it, and I look forward to meeting up again in a few weeks' time to add some further detail and take things a little bit further in regards to your overall action. Well done.